Well, good morning. I'm Luke Schulte, field agronomist here in Ohio, and I'm on our Beck's London PFR site. Getting a lot of calls in the last 2 days. How much is my overall corn yield impacted by the frost event that we had Monday morning? So here at this site, at the soil surface temperature, we had about 33 degrees. But you can see visually from some of these plants, we have some symptomology of some frost injury. But the good news is we're pretty well protected, and most of the injury you're seeing and symptomology is purely cosmetic. So we're about 2 days after our frost event that we had on Monday morning, and it's about the time you want to start to evaluate corn to see how much injury you potentially have. So when we think about what was the overall yield impact to this young V2 corn plant, we have to think about the overall transition. We talked about the growing point is below ground, and we're going to identify that. But what's going on here is this plant is a V2 corn plant. It's actually still living off this seed to some degree. It's also taken in some nutrients, some moisture from the seminal root system, and it's starting to transition to taking in a fair amount of nutrients and moisture through the nodal root system, which is right here at the crown of the plant. That is approximately about 3/4 of an inch below the soil surface. And so when we think about how we talked about, I don't think our yield was significantly impacted by this frost, we talked about the growing point being below the surface. So it's right here, and when we split this stem, we're going to identify where that growing point is. It's right above the crown of this plant. So I split the stem, and it's a little tougher to see, but the growing point is right here above the crown of the plant. Soil surface is right up here. So that frost event that we had on Monday morning should not have impacted overall yield, because it's important that we keep that growing point intact and protected. And our soil temperature and the ground did that for us. Right now, most of our injury is cosmetic. Our growing point is below the ground. Our growing point is not going to come above the soil surface till about V5, V6, kind of depending on that hybrid. So we're protected. The soil temperature, the ground temperature actually surrounded that growing point and protected it. Now the above ground symptomology looks kind of rough. You can see from some of these plants, they've been burnt on the leaf edges. Where this particular leaf was laying parallel to the ground and the frost settled onto it, it's pretty thin, almost like a translucent look. It's pretty necrotic looking, very yellow looking. You can see a lot of these plants exhibit the same symptomology. That frost event is what did that. However, that growing point is below the surface and we're protected. So now we're in that V2 time frame. We have some symptomology, we have some cosmetic burn, but overall yield impact is going to be pretty minor, I believe, across the state of Ohio. We do have some frost injury that varies across the state, but overall the yield impact will be pretty minor. So rest assured, as you think about your corn crop and think back to May 7th and the morning of May 8th, think about the impact that this frost event had. I think you'll find that it's going to be pretty minor. So that's what we're seeing here at London PFR from some of the effects that we had Monday morning. If you have any further questions about what's going on in your field, please give one of your Beck representatives a call. Thank you.